Hey guys, so there's a Pittsburgh Steelers move that just became way more likely to happen. And first off, let's kind of give a lay of the land here on the Steelers in this quarterback situation. And a team leader on the Pittsburgh Steelers just sounded off on what he thinks of it. More on that in a minute. But first off, let's kind of get into the main story here. The Minnesota Vikings just said no thank you to Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just going to go to this report by Diana Rossini of The Athletic. The Athletic's Diana Rossini reports the following. The NFL Network reported Wednesday that the Vikings planned on moving forward with J.J. McCarthy as their QB1 this spring and were not considering Rodgers at this time. Rossini also said that the Vikings have strongly considered and will continue to monitor Aaron Rodgers as an option in the future, but they're not ready to commit at this point in the offseason per sources. So what does this mean? I mean, this could lead to him signing elsewhere or retiring. The Giants and the Steelers, yes, will continue waiting for this decision by just an unpredictable Rodgers. But right now, I think the Steelers are totally comfortable, and they should be starting Mason Rudolph if Rodgers at 41, if he signs elsewhere or if he decides to call it quits. Just giving you the news here. And if you look at a team leader on the Steelers, that's Cam Heyward, right? And Cam Heyward, he had something to say about this. And now keep in mind, Cam Heyward's words hold a lot of sway in this locker room because him endorsing and calling, actually physically calling Darius Slay, this is something that Darius Slay just shared. He said that his endorsement, him reaching out, Cam Heyward doing this was a contributing factor to him coming to Pittsburgh. So Cam Heyward, his opinion holds weight here. And frankly, he's grown weary of the waiting game, just like the rest of us, I'm sure. And on the latest episode of his Not Just Football podcast, Heyward said that he's, and I quote, tired of talking about the quarterback situation and is, quote, ready to move on from free agency into the rest of the offseason. So if you look at what the Steelers have done, they've signed Mason Rudolph, and they and the Giants have been linked to Rodgers primarily. Rodgers was pining away for the Minnesota Vikings. They just said no thank you. So I think it's either one of our two teams here, or does he still retire? And I wouldn't put it past him. But this to hear straight from Cam, I ain't doing that darkness retreat stuff. I don't need any of that crap. Either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. That's simple. That's the pitch. If you want me to recruit, that's my recruiting pitch. Pittsburgh Steelers. If you don't want to be part of it, so be it. If you want to be part of it, so be it. If you don't, no skin off my back. I kind of respect that. And you guys as Pittsburgh Steelers fans should respect him. And thank you for growing this channel, Sports Talk Steelers. I'm Sean. It's been great providing an impartial view on your Pittsburgh Steelers. So like and subscribe. Would love to continue to grow this with you. So kind of on the Aaron Rodgers situation, there's no word yet on what decision might come. Lack of moves beyond Rudolph's return, doesn't that kind of signal that the Steelers have more patience than Heyward at this point, but also that the Steelers have hedged their bets a little bit, because we've talked about on this channel the fact that Mason Rudolph, he can probably carry the water for at least this year. He has the support of the team, and Tom Pelissero, he provided some insight into this as well. So I want to dig into this a little bit. And Tom Pelissero, he has a really good view on things. He has a lot of connections, and he's actually reporting that the Steelers are fully comfortable starting quarterback Mason Rudolph in 2025. And he's talking about how if the Steelers can't add Aaron Rodgers in the next couple weeks, the team's going to be open to just rolling with Rudolph in 2025, maybe getting a veteran backup behind him. And most definitely, I believe drafting a quarterback at some point in this draft to be an understudy for at least a year. Maybe Green Bay is doing some things right. They keep raising up quarterbacks after a veteran starter. Maybe Pittsburgh should follow that same pattern. So Pelissero said that several key members of the Pittsburgh offense, and that includes George Pickens, they're supportive of Rudolph. That's good to hear. And he just signed on March 13th a 2-year contract worth $8 million with the Steelers. Kind of looking back, he started 13 games for the Steelers in 2023, going 8-4, and he targeted Pickens absolutely heavily all the way through it. They did really well together as a team, as a duo there. He's passed for 4,615 yards with 28 touchdowns and 20 interceptions in 29 career games with the Steelers. And then he kind of had some flashes there with the Titans last year. And with the Titans in his limited playing time, he was actually 13th out of 40 qualifying quarterbacks in drop back success rate. I remember if I would have been in charge of the Titans, I would have kept Rudolph in and relied on him when faced with the prospect of any more Will Levis. Is it Levis? Yeah, I think so. He also talked about a simple fact, and this is straight from Pelissero. The Steelers, by virtue of signing Mason Rudolph, brought themselves some time here because now, worst case, if this doesn't work out with Rodgers, you could just roll with Mason Rudolph, who, let's be honest, and I agree, over the last several years with all the quarterback changes since Big Ben, probably the best stretch of football they've played as an offense was down the stretch in 2023 when Mason Rudolph took over. And he was more than serviceable during his 4-game stint in 2023. And yes, he did bring the team back into relevance on a 3-game winning streak that produced a playoff appearance as well. Honestly, though, I don't think he's a long-term solution here, but he can definitely buy the Steelers some time for them to find it, and not just throwing $45 to $55 million, however much it's going to cost to bring in Aaron Rodgers to be a locker room cancer and also just suck up so much of the cap. I don't love it. And I also don't love like a quarterback coming in as an understudy under Rodgers. I mean, he talked a good game with Wilson being his understudy with the Jets, but historically, I don't know. I don't know if I want Aaron Rodgers in my locker room. Some people argue that he's actually a pro's pro and that people respect him, but just hearing this stuff that Cam Heyward has to say, that might echo a lot of sentiment with the guys on the actual team, and we'll see what happens. But I think the team is looking to win now while they rebuild at the quarterback position, though. This might be, I don't know, you can take this for what it is, but they did trade and get DK Metcalf. They signed a big contract with him, so they're all in and winning right now. But also, I think the Steelers should be into rebuilding a little bit. I think they should just roll with Mason Rudolph, bring in a rookie, or sign a free agent to kind of be his understudy. Maybe next year the draft will be a little more robust at quarterback, or go crazy and try to trade up and get like Shadir Sanders. But if you wanted Shadir Sanders, why didn't you just keep Justin Fields? I mean, there's a lot of stuff to consider here. Plus, your Steelers do not have a second-round pick anymore because that was given in the DK Metcalf trade. So you're a little hamstrung as far as draft collateral to bounce around in this draft. I don't know, man. You guys let me know what you think. Do you want to roll with Mason Rudolph, or do you still want to wait it out for Aaron Rodgers? Or perhaps are you still a proponent of trying to swing a last-second trade for Kirk Cousins? They're saying maybe a third-rounder might be enough to grab him if the Steelers are willing to swallow the rest of his contract, which is a big bite. I appreciate you guys helping me build this channel. I'll be back tomorrow with more Steelers news on the daily, and we'll talk soon. See ya.